What is going on, everybody? It is episode 603 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. As you can see, Brett is fulfilling his promise from Monday.
Well, you see, I'm not a woman, so I'm not going to be offended if you don't realize I've done something with my hair.
Yeah. We all noticed. Don't worry about that. But everyone was missing blonde Brett, and
Yes.
you weren't about to bleach your real hair, so this is the best thing. Other than that,
I promised a segment with blonde hair, so you get the intro segment with blonde hair.
That's like actually bonus time with the wig, so
Yes.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
And then we also have a bald guest here named Phil.
How you doing? My name's Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. What's with the swipes there, Mary?
Oh, nothing. I was just doing a friendly jab. We're all friends here. Is this your persona where you're like, you don't talk?
Yes. This is my persona.
Can you?
No, actually,
is this your podcasting persona? A podcaster who doesn't talk?
Yeah, guys. Just it's kind of like when Hassan Piker just leaves the chair up there for hours at a time.
He does that?
I mean, not hours. But, like I just sit here. I don't have to actually talk.
Does he actually do that?
I know
I don't know.
He like walks
I don't
away.
watch
It's a meme.
his
It's a
streams,
meme.
but-
We have Chair here as well.
We do.
Hi, Chair.
Chair is here. I'm gonna do my best. I'm not gonna be able to read it. These are like.
They're like obstructing your view.
I have so these are glasses. They're sunglasses, prescription sunglasses,
Yes.
but it's still kind of hazy because the lighting in here is all dim and stuff like that. But we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. But before we get started, guys, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already, please and thank you. Share these videos with your friends. More people come in here, find this podcast, they see this. I don't know if that's actually what they want.
They immediately click off.
click off.
They're like, I'm gonna go watch Mr. Beast. Thank you.
Perfect. But the more people that come in here and see these videos, the better it is for our show. So the best way that you can support is by sharing these videos with your friends. And remember, all super chats, $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion. We will read them right then and there. Perhaps you want to compliment me on my haircut.
You know, Brett, nobody asked you to wear sunglasses.
Yes.
They only asked for the wig.
I know.
You're choosing to be blind
That
right
is true.
now.
It's no. They're like, I can see. It's more dark than blind. It's not like obstruct.
Okay.
It's just making it darker. That's fine though. So what are we going to talk about today, guys? We got a bunch of stuff to get into. First things first. If you remember a couple weeks ago, all the rage to talk about on shows like this was to do with Quiet on Set, which is of course a docu-series that is exposing all of the gross stuff going on at Nickelodeon. A lot of it involving Dan Schneider, who is such a big, prolific creator over there. Well, he is now suing that series for defamation. So we are
Yes.
going to get into that. We're going to discuss it. We're also going to talk about Glee star Darren Criss, who says that although he is straight, he is culturally queer.
I hate everything.
That's what I figured you'd say.
Well, when you grow up in San Francisco, it's just by osmosis, you become gay.
Well, I mean, to me, what this was, like, if somebody ever tells you that it's got nothing to do with ideology, you point them to a clip like this.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. So we're going to talk about that. Also, Milf Manor, even more degenerate than it used to be. And you think I'm lying? I am not lying. It
They're
actually...
involving the DILFs into
Yes.
DILF Manor, I
It
guess
was
they're going to
supposed
call
to
it
be
that.
DILF Dungeon. That was going to be the guy's version.
That was our idea.
Yeah.
They didn't take us up on that.
Stupid of them to not
yeah.
do that. So guys, we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, hit the like button on this video and subscribe, please. If you guys are ready, we'll just go ahead and get started. Are you ready?
Let's go.
So,
Go.
Here we go. All right, first things first then, ladies and gentlemen, bad news for Disney. We reported the other day that the trailer was getting owned on the internet for Mufasa, obviously the pointless sequel to The Lion King.
Well, it's a prequel, technically.
I'm sorry, well, prequel,
the
sequel,
pointless live-action, photorealistic lion prequel to The Lion King.
realistic lion prequel.
It's literally, as I said, a glorified nature documentary made for kids, question mark.
Well, it has over 150,000 downvotes or something like that.
No, I'm seeing like the ratio here, the one that Nerdrotic posted.
250?
They have 107K likes on the trailer and 236,000 dislikes. So they got ratioed pretty hard, and then Disney turned off the comments.
Like, that's the worst thing you can do.
Why do they always do
Yeah.
this?
That's Streisanding to
It looks so bad.
degree. Like, just leave the comments up. If they're bad, they're bad. The other thing about it is it's pointless these days because
Or don't make the comments available at all.
Yes.
Like, if you
From
turn
the beginning.
If you turn them off in the beginning, then it's like, all right, you can get away with that, fine. You know, they're like, they don't want to have the bad comments, whatever, fine.
Yeah.
But they're not taking any at all. Don't sit there and be like, oh, hey, we're going to go ahead and allow comments and then get a reaction that you were not hoping for and then be like, oh, boy.
I can't believe our Mufasa trailer didn't get unanimously positive comments. What did you expect?
Yeah.
Like, how delusional are they?
it's also pointless because when these trailers come out, they don't just come out on the Disney or like on the Disney YouTube channel. They come out on a whole bunch of other
Right,
channels
they get
as well.
independently posted.
And those do have the comments up.
Right.
And if you want a taste of what that is, you can go over to those channels to see what they're talking about. So they're actually not winning anything by doing this. There are
Sunlight
some
is the
20s there.
best disinfectant.
Not true.
Haha. Okay, Corey Anderson said, Phil, Divine sounded effing awesome. I'm looking forward to the album. The tour is going to be amazing. Has the PCC crew listened to it yet? Is making albums over now that we are in the age of streaming?
That's an interesting question for you.
So making albums does not have to be over, and I think that there's going to be albums being made for a while because there is still the financial incentive that labels or licensing companies present to artists. So if artists want to make music, they need some kind of money to do it usually, so licensing or a label will allow you to have some kind of funding, and usually they'll be like, we'll do more than just one or two songs. They're going to want to fund a batch of songs. So I think that that'll be around for a while, but it's not the only option anymore. Individual artists can finance their own individual songs, put them up on their own, and if something catches on, it catches on. So, and thank you for the kudos about Divine. Appreciate it.
Do you feel that it's one of those things that people believe that with the new generation who just listens to stuff on Spotify that they just don't have the attention span for full-length albums anymore?
You're not trying to appeal to 12-year-olds, though, so.
I'm just saying in general. Like, we got into this discussion.
Wait, sorry,
a while
I have to
back.
read the other 20 before we get into that discussion. Greg Duvier said, detached from divine, detachment, desire, except to inspire, divine breathing and breathe out, because now it's all in your hands.
Cheers, man. Thank you. That's the chorus of Divine.
Yes.
Are you worried about that, though? It's Brett's question.
I don't know that I'm worried about it. Yeah, I don't know that
I mean, your fan base isn't that generation anyway, right?
Not,
Like,
I mean,
they're
we're always trying to appeal to young people on some level because you want people that are going to enjoy your music, that are going to enjoy it for years in the future. That's the goal. That's what you hope for. But I don't know that the fact that people seem to have short attention spans is prohibitive of writing bigger music. I mean, I think that there is room for complexity. I mean, our Divine, whether or not you're into big music, Divine is not a long song, but it's extremely complex and there's a lot of musical richness to it, and that takes a certain amount of attention span to appreciate, anyways. So I do think that there is attention span for it. I just don't think that it's as much as it used to be, and I think that that's mostly because of the options out there for entertainment.
Yeah, you're like competing with Coco Melon these days.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I would love to have like one of our songs, like one of the biggest songs on Spotify that we have is a minute-and-a-half intro that's just a breakdown, and I don't know what happened or how it got picked up by the algorithm, but it's literally got more on Spotify itself. It's got more spins on Spotify than the two songs that we have platinum records for, and I have no idea why. But the weird thing is, like, you can put out a song or whatever, and it can get picked up on like TikTok or on Reel or whatever, and then get a ton of spins on Spotify because of that. So you're always trying to do stuff that has like a hook because you want that kind of replayability, but you can still make big music with those kind of hooks in it. So.
I just miss interludes. That's why I want full albums. Interludes.
They're all right. They're right.
Interludes are important. So yes, Disney is gonna. I have a feeling that this one's not gonna do the numbers that they expected it to.
Yeah,
No.
why did YouTube remove visible dislike counts in the first place? Was it just like we
Protect
need
creators.
to shield sensitive
Yep.
people who
You
can't
can,
handle Backlash.
To those of you who are on a computer, though, you can download or maybe they changed it by now. I still have it. There is a plugin you can download so that you can look at the dislike counter, which is very important to have. I think it's important for creators to have that anyways and display it, because the idea should be that, you know, you want to be able to see where audiences lie with what you're creating. Now, usually when we make segments, and we can see it, right? When we post our segmented videos, I can guess beforehand. Now, most of ours sit at like 99 to 98%, you know, because our audience is our audience. A lot of them probably fall in line in a lot of ways with what we say most of the time. But there are ever so often, like when we did the initial discussion point about Deadpool versus Wolverine, and I was like, I don't think this movie needs to exist. I knew that was going to be lower than 99%.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's important.
As you said, there are opinions considered pop culture heresy these days, and that might be one of them.
I love trying to have a serious discussion while wearing this. This is my favorite part of the day.
I just feel weird not being able to actually look at your eyes. I don't know where you're looking.
Yeah, that's why people like sunglasses.
Yep.
Right? All right, this is important news right here. I don't know if you guys saw this the other day. Dave and Buster's are going to allow players 18 years and older to gamble.
I'm looking at the photo of gigantic hungry hippos, and I want to play it.
I'm sorry, but I believe that in the next 10, like the way that we talk about the opioid crisis and stuff like that, there will be something similar for gambling, because gambling is so mainstream now, and anytime they post a video, at the end, they have to put like do you have a problem with gambling? Call this number. Because they know inherently that it's dangerous to the psyche for some people.
Yeah, I just never really understood that.
It's kind of shocking how mainstream it is for these companies to get in bed with the gambling sites.
The argument that gambling, or the argument that you hear a lot, is there's already gambling because of, you know, sports betting, or there's gambling because of scratch offs and stuff like that. But gambling in a casino is an experience, right? It is not just one thing, right?
It's reined in too, like
just like throwing dice in an alley is an experience.
Well,
I mean, at the casino here, you got to be 21 or over, and this is 18 or over. So they're just kind of opening the floodgates.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even still, like at the casino, the fact that it's becoming more common for casinos to be everywhere and for gambling to be an entertainment thing, like that is really bad for society. But on top of it, casinos are there's a whole other thing that goes with casinos, like the whole like drinking and smoking cigarettes and all that stuff that goes along with it makes the whole thing more attractive. And I'm saying this because like I'm a dude that doesn't smoke anymore, doesn't drink anymore, and I used to go and gamble and have a great time. And it's not, and I thankfully didn't have a problem with gambling, but I've definitely blown a bunch of money gambling. And for people that are susceptible to that kind of stuff, the extra stuff that goes along with it, the smoking, the drinking, the partying, that stuff makes it more than just going to get scratch offs, is the point that I'm making. You know, that's why I mentioned, like, it's not just the lottery. It's not the argument that people are presenting where, oh, it's just gambling. It's a whole other thing that goes along with it. And not just one, it's multiple things. So
they talk about how, like, at casinos, they pump oxygen into the room. It's designed in a way so there's no clocks anywhere, so there's no passage
why do they
of
pump
time.
oxygen
Keep
in
you
the
awake.
Keeps you
longer.
awake.
And then the way the doors are set up, there's no light visible from outside, so there's no passage of time, all in a way to get you lost in the experience, to keep you there longer. They spend billions of dollars on security and hundreds of millions on research to figure out how to best take your money. That's why there's always sounds. It sounds like somebody's winning all the time.
Why don't they just add slot machines to Dave & Buster's and just kind of be transparent with it at this point?
So this is what it says. It says the chain. It says the entertainment chain on Tuesday announced a partnership with Lucra, which makes gamification software to bring the betting feature to Dave & Buster's guests. The chain's 5 million loyalty members can compete with other arcade users to earn rewards in what is described as exclusive perks. We're thrilled to work with Lucra to bring the exciting new gaming platform to our customers. I'm just picturing, like, the funnier version of this, Mary, is like it's the big life-size thing of hungry hippos, and people are throwing money down in the middle of the ring, you know, like rumpled up bills and stuff like that.
Well, I think that some people could pay their college tuition with this, pay your student loans off at Dave & Buster's.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, casinos you're gonna lose if you go long enough. You're gonna lose a lot if you keep going. No matter how much your buddy tells you he wins all the time, he doesn't. He's lying to himself just like he's lying to you.
One of my favorite video series, I follow this account on Instagram called No One Said This, and it's all AI videos of people saying stuff that is the opposite of what they would actually say. And one of them, it's a series of videos of Steve Harvey where he talks about how good gambling is for you. He's like, are you short on your rent? He's like, just take however much you have and bet until you get your rent money.
Yeah.
And that's what people do. You shouldn't do that, guys.
Yeah,
Again, it's funny. The first time that we went to the casino out here, like I went with, and they're like, "Are you going to gamble?" I was like, "I can't," because technically in recovery, gambling lights up the same pleasure centers in your brain that drugs and alcohol do. So I was like, I'll come and walk around and eat food, but like I can only do that for like about 45 minutes before, in the absence of not drinking, not smoking, not gambling.
That's
I'm like,
exactly
I gotta go.
the point that I was making earlier. It's like, for me, like I can go and hang out, but I don't want to go and sit at the tables and play blackjack, which is what I used to do, and not smoke cigarettes and not drink. Right? Like that was all part of it. Like the whole nicotine, alcohol, the endorphin of when you actually hit and stuff. It didn't matter how much money you lost because you were doing the thing that was, the point was getting the endorphins, which you were getting from the game itself and from the drugs that you were taking, which is, booze and nicotine and stuff. So that's why I say it's more than just, the argument that it's just gambling is not. Like, I don't think that that's valid. I don't think that that's enough. It's not just gambling. It's a lot more than that.
I do, however, think that professional athletes should be allowed to bet on themselves.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think like did Pete Rose ever bet on someone else? Let Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame already. Come on, guys.
Wait, wasn't he on juice too, though?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't mix those things together.
Should be able to do that. I mean, but I also believe that steroids should be 100% legal, and pitchers should be able to just slather their hand in whatever chemicals they want.
I agree with all those things too. You should be able to do whatever edge you can get. I'm fine with it. But if you are taking steroids, no one else is taking steroids, and you're betting on yourself, that's kind of like, I'm like, all right.
Somebody in the chat might know. I don't know if he ever got caught with steroids. I don't know about that. Also, I mean, there is also the point where people always point out all the hitters that were on steroids. I'm like, do you really think the pitchers weren't on steroids?
Yeah, look, baseball was way more awesome when everybody was doing juice.
Just go watch
everybody was
derbies.
smashing baseballs out of the park, and it was sick. So, like, I know that it's like, juice is bad and yada yada. I get it, but
Yada,
baseball
yada.
was still awesome.
Yeah.
right?
See, in the chat they're saying Pete Rose wasn't on roids. See, I say you just let him in the Hall of Fame. Just go back and watch those old home run derbies from the late '90s.
Yeah.
Where Mark McGwire hits like 13 over the green monster, and he can't stop. Like he's like destroying his molars because he's chewing his gum so hard because he's just gacked out of his mind on substances.
Gack.
It's just that's.
I want
way
my
more
baseball
fun.
players on steroids and cocaine.
I'm thinking about all the
That's
people who are like
baseball.
tuning in right now and they don't understand why you're dressed like that.
What do you mean?
But we're just gonna move on.
Yeah. So somebody said I look like Logan Paul, and I couldn't tell if that was an insult or a compliment.
Take it as a
Logan Paul.
compliment.
He's in good shape.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's move on then, shall we? Here we go.
We're gonna see Fall Guy
Tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's actually exciting because for once people are saying that the movie is good. But right now there is some outrage directed at the Fall Guy because there is a line about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's toxic relationship in the movie, and it's getting completely blown out of proportion in my opinion. But basically there's a scene where a producer goes into a trailer that is in disarray and says to another character, "It's like Amber and Johnny were just in here," a reference to Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. They were probably writing the script in the middle of when that was relevant.
Yeah, it's relevant.
But it's too late to cut it out now. And there are people who are actually morally outraged by this.
Listen to this tweet. It says, "I have absolutely no idea how I missed this when I saw it. What an unconscionable and disgusting decision. Shame on David Leitch, the writing team, and whoever else contributed to telling this joke." Now, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but my guess would be, given the Palestinian flag, that they would be Amber Heard supporters.
Perhaps.
That would be-
Context clues, yeah.
That's
would
a
tell you
context
that.
clue.
But I can see how it would piss off Amber Heard stands and Johnny Depp stands because it's a line that doesn't take a side. But another person said, damn, WTF, I was so excited for this movie, now that's gone. You're not going to see a movie because you listened to a line that lasted like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That happened to mention an abusive relationship.
Like, I don't know if it's like whenever those people say, it's kind of, I think of it the same way as when people say, I'm unsubscribing, when they go out of their way to let you know they're unsubscribing from you. And you're like, what am I supposed to do with that? Right?
Don't let the subscribe button hit your ass on the way out.
No creator, no director, no writer, no actor, no creative at all should ever be making their art with the idea of a person who is that quick to disengage from your work in mind.
When you're worried about these types of people's reaction to your jokes, that's how you can seriously handicap comedy. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not even saying that that line was so freaking hilarious. Maybe the delivery that we'll see tonight will sell it for us, but it's just not offensive in any way, shape, or form. These people don't want to be happy. Like, they don't want to feel joy.
Yep.
They're like allergic to joy.
Like I said, and you want to know how you know that's true? Is like when we went to see the American Society of Magical, right?
You're allowed to say it. You're allowed to say the word.
The point is like when I go to see movies like that, or even Madam Web, I go in knowing it's going to be bad, and it makes it 100 times better.
Yeah, I mean, for that movie in particular, some of them are so bad that there's really nothing to even laugh at.
I guess the analog for me would be like really cringy lines about feminism.
Cringy dialogue.
Cringy feminist lines would be my version of this. But even then, it wouldn't be like, I'm not going to see it now. It would be, we're going to see it now and it's going to be miserable. But
so you're hearing the first reactions from it. They're saying it's more of a rom-com than a comedy or than an action movie.
My timeline is all people praising it. I haven't seen anyone say anything negative.
It was
about
very mixed for Argyle, which I didn't understand because I just loved Argyle.
Yep. So my timeline is full of people who generally, for the most part, maybe I don't always agree with, but I would see as rational movie reviewers who aren't out to put their agenda onto whatever they're reviewing, and they're saying that they had a lot of fun with it. And I think that this genre, since Hollywood seems really, really hell-bent on not really going all in on the rom-com genre because they don't find it viable unless you've got Sydney Sweeney ruining her co-star's relationship to do it. Like the action rom-com.
If you can mix genres, that it's a way to make it marketable to both.
It's like we can't do the damsel in distress anymore wholesale. We can't do the woman who has the day saved for her by the heroic man. That's misogynistic. But if we add comedy to it, and the only way we know how to give her agency is by making it a rom-com, I guess that's fine. Like, that's the better of bad options if the idea is
there
that
might be some moments like that where he saves her in this movie. We don't know yet.
Yeah, like in a world now where you're not allowed to do that anymore, I guess this is their way of writing around that problem that's been created by Hollywood's own ideology.
Yeah.
And I see all of this as like, and David Leitch isn't looking at this and going like, oh no, I better have this joke digitally removed from my movie. If anything, Hollywood being able to laugh at themselves is a sign of good health for them, that they should be able to look at their own celebrities and say, wow, we are ridiculous sometimes.
Someone with they them pronouns in their name replied to it and said, the fact that the joke is just it looks like a room where domestic violence occurred is kind of bonkers. If you think your pronouns are they them, you are kind of bonkers. But anyway, Pop Culture Junkie sent us a $20 super chat. Mary, don't wait, what is that?
Don't let the unsubscribe button hit your ass on the way out.
Still laughing. Okay, glad I could get a laugh out of you.
I don't know. I can't imagine that these types of jokes will go away because I feel like Hollywood's actually probably, at one point they used to be pretty good at joking about themselves. They did. Like meta humor about actors used to actually be pretty good where
they could be mean to each other.
Yes, or at least portray actors as the selfish, self-obsessed, and egotistical people that they are. Callous, low IQ, and very, very vapid.
Yeah.
And they don't do that.
Thank you. We got another $20 from Alfred LaRock. He said, am I the only guy going to see Lord of the Rings 4K IMAX next month? Mary, I still think you should consider Megyn Kelly cosplay. Do it for the culture.
Can you imagine?
What is MCCGA? Make conservative calves great again.
Calves is in your calf
I'll
muscles?
definitely give that some serious consideration. And I am planning to see Lord of the Rings in theaters next month because I actually have not watched it all the way through, like back to back.
They're showing the extended editions too.
Yeah, like I want to see it in full. And then we have another huge super chat from Just Cause I'm Free. Thank you for the party. He said, Brett looks good with the blonde wig. Very surfer dude-ish.
I was never a surfer, but I guess I say like enough, and I'll start saying bra.
And refer to pizza as za.
Yeah, bra.
Ooh.
Is that a surfer thing? You hate that?
You know what it means?
I don't like za. Yeah,
I like
that bothers me. Do you really? Oh God.
I mean, I don't say it, but I like it when
Thank you so much for that one, Just Cause I'm Free. I think I'm gonna watch Point Break tonight, just because you said that.
Is the second one gonna go off, or is it gonna be? Or no, was that the third one?
That's the second one. I will set that one off manually if it doesn't.
All right.
So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, we're going to go see this movie tonight. We will have a review for you guys up. I believe that review will go up on Saturday morning.
All right.
So that will be good. It'll be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to that one because I never got to see that one with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum that actually a lot of people said was really, really good. If anybody remembers which one that was, I can't remember it off the top of my head. But it did really, really well in 2021. Made over $100 million at the box office. And it was a rom-com action movie. I think Daniel Radcliffe played the bad guy in that movie.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Somebody in the chat just catch me with the name of that one because it always escapes me. Lost City. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. All right. Let us go ahead and move on then, shall we? Oh my gosh, we got past that one. All right. Evangeline.
Yeah. Right now, Margot Robbie is being eyed to star in a new movie from Warner Brothers, starring as Evangeline, and this is a female comic book character who is quite scantily clad, which is already a fraught social issue to begin with. But not only that, they have chosen Olivia Wilde to direct this movie, and the writer of Poor Things, the art house Emma Stone movie that was kind of pedophilic, he's gonna write it, the screenplay. I think this is already just something to be concerned about.
So, this is a Rob Liefeld comic. I did not read it, so I don't have the background knowledge on the character. I just know that based on the images that I saw, because I did some cursory research, that they're never going to allow the character to exist as the character was in the comics. Now, the point I made yesterday was like maybe there's later runs where it looks different. I don't know, but I do know that they love to like go through properties like this, knowing that they're going to change it heavily from what it was initially, and then be surprised when it doesn't do well.
Yeah, and knowing Olivia Wilde's personality and her track record and the type of movie that she wants to be known for, I highly doubt that it will be something that appeals to a male audience, which I assume is the audience for this comic book run, if I'm not mistaken.
Olivia Wilde
looking at
will
this,
not direct this character. Tell me I'm wrong.
Right.
Tell me I'm wrong.
And like then, of course, once this actually gets greenlit, there's going to be a renewed discourse about people who think Margot Robbie is mid.
That's the first thing I thought of when we were talking about this. I was like, we're going to have to talk about if Margot Robbie is mid again.
Vinny Doom says it will be girl boss bullshit, but it should be. I mean, shouldn't
is
she
Evangeline
be?
a girl boss?
She should be, right? Like, that's not the point. My point is that they're going to sanitize the imagery. She's not going to be allowed to look good on camera because Olivia Wilde will say that if men like it, it's a bad thing.
It could be one or both of those issues, but again, like,
Does Olivia Wilde hate men?
Well, she's a feminist.
I mean, she's a hardcore feminist.
And,
yeah.
And the character is an avenging angel. She's a Catholic. American Catholics dress like this? I don't think that's allowed.
I don't think so.
What is Olivia Wilde's take on heterosexual sex? Is it rape or is it not?
On what?
Heterosexual sex.
Is she a dwarken head?
Yeah, exactly. Does she believe that all heterosexual
definitely
sex is rape?
bonking with Harry Styles, but I don't know if he's a man, so I'm questioning it. I don't know. That might count as a gay relationship. But yeah, this is just overall kind of concerning, and Olivia Wilde is on her fourth second chance now as a director.
Fourth second chance.
So, what the last one, her first failure was Booksmart, right? I have no idea if Don't Worry Darling did well in theaters, but it's just an artsy film for feminists.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
how
most
can
of
it
those
really?
movies that size end up making their money back by getting good deals for streaming. But I haven't seen. I don't know where Don't Worry, Darling went for streaming, so I can't actually say for that.
But this says Evangeline is an angel who fights forces of evil, finds herself face to face with demons and monsters. A feared warrior in Heaven's war host, single-handedly broken into pandemonium to confront the devil himself. She's a fallen angel, banished from heaven after being tricked into questioning his love for humans.
Angels
She
should
was stripped
fight
of her
evil in
angelic
lingerie.
abilities, other than her great strength and her blood, which once extracted from her body could be used as a weapon or a miracle. So it just basically sounds like she is a powerful female character, which I believe should be feminist enough for Olivia Wilde, but they're going to have to make some changes, right?
How is it that Hollywood managed to actually do like a good Wonder Woman movie in the 21st century and like can't figure it out
After
that?
2015,
There were
right?
still there. I mean, 2017 it came out, which means it was in production before the shift in 2016.
The shift.
And Zack Snyder, despite not directing that movie, played a large role in the production of that film, which means he had more clout, perhaps, than Patty Jenkins.
Like
had
they
at the time.
allowed her to be a warm character. They allowed her to be like fun and funny, and she didn't have to kick the male lead in the face every time.
That's what people loved about it. Like,
Yeah,
her and
it was
Chris-
fun and cool. It was like,
her
oh,
and-
they don't
her
hate
and
each other.
Chris Pine had good chemistry
Yeah.
on set, and it worked really, really well.
Is that the way previous Wonder Womans had acted on screen?
I don't feel like there was a lot of romance in previous Wonder Woman, and if there was, it tended to be towards Superman. I feel like, and maybe that could be just my imagination from comic books and stuff.
What
like
it
that,
made me think of is the Red Sonja movie that we're going to be getting soon too.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we were talking about that recently.
Now she should beat everybody up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that
Well,
makes sense.
I think the trans director of that talked about it's a
So then it's gonna be
male to
Conan
female male to female trans
Yes.
director talked about how they're getting rid of the original plot line, which is a revenge after she gets gang R-worded by marauding
Okay.
enemies.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly the details, but they
Democratic
decided
sex, right?
the trans writer decided we're getting rid of that backstory because it's not convincing enough for a revenge plot in a female character. It's too simplistic.
Whoa, there's a whole lot of subtext.
That's a whole
in
other
that.
can of worms, right?
Like we could talk about that for a little while.
I mean, the whole thing was so weird. Like, I felt like, did Red Sonja, like,
It's rape isn't
sissy?
enough.
I feel like the Red Sonja character, like, sissy hypnoed this dude. I probably just went too far for YouTube standards, so I'm just going to shut my mouth right now. But that was the impression I got from reading the interviews.
So I didn't see that, but just from hearing you describe it, my impression is very much like rape isn't enough to bum a woman out enough to make her want to get revenge. Like, what
How
are
else are we supposed to
What
interpret
are you
that? Like,
talking
Speaking
about,
of Wonder
bro?
Woman, this goes a whole different direction because if you remember in Wonder Woman 2, she essentially has sex with the male lead in that without him knowing about
yeah.
it. Yep.
that was
Yep,
controversial.
because in the male lead is put in Chris Pine's body. Like she sees him as Chris Pine's character, as Steve Trevor, and then she has sex with the character, fully knowing that this isn't actually him. Mm-hmm. That actually happened. And
We got a
And then people are like, kind of rapey.
$25 super chat from Lord Crimson TV. He said, was listening to the last episodes while, where is it? Driving my truck and heard your comments on VTubers. It made me laugh because I am a VTuber on Twitch. Shameless self-plug, Lord Crimson TV. Just know that you have a VTuber as a big fan.
Good
okay.
stuff.
Let's go.
I had no idea that you were a VTuber, but
Go follow. Go subscribe.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Crimson TV.
Shout out, I guess.
Yes, it is
I hope
it
there's
is a
no
shout.
like weird sexual side to your content, but yeah. That's interesting.
Like for this, anything Olivia Wilde's attached to, I just automatically see as it's going to become niche and it's not going to be really worth it. Now, Margot Robbie's a different story. She's of course as
Mid.
mainstream as it gets
She's
when
not
it comes to
mid.
box
She's not
office.
mid.
She's not mid. She's as mainstream as it gets when it comes to box office success.
I mean,
but-
she doesn't seem like the type who would play this character though.
I mean, she played Harley Quinn. and
Also,
Harley Quinn was more scantily clad in the first Suicide Squad movie by far.
But everyone got really angry at that.
And that was in 2016.
Lord Crimson TV sent another 20. He said, nah, I hate the lewd tubers just as much as y'all. Okay, glad we can agree on that. Yep. But isn't Evangeline a redhead?
That looks
Is she about to get ginger-sided?
Probably.
Or is it auburn? I don't know.
It's auburn. Looks auburn.
We got another 20 from Alfred Larock. He said, they're only showing each movie once Saturday. The Fellowship, Sunday is Two Towers, Monday's Return of the King. Phil, check out the new Gen 2 Beretta 1301 12 gauge. Get yourself a little treat to celebrate new album.
I am torn between the Benelli M4 and a Beretta. I haven't seen the new one that you're talking about. Hey.
Thank you.
But I am torn. If I do get another shotgun, which I think I will eventually, it'll be one of those two. But thank you.
You're jiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I just, also, if I'm being completely honest, other than the fact that Margot Robbie's involved in this, I could see this being one of those movies that enters development hell and never gets done.
Definitely.
Not mainstream enough to push it through the production process and get it out to everybody. Nobody's clamoring for this. And the only people that would clamor for this aren't going to be doing so when your sanitized version of it comes out, which means that it enters development hell and nobody cares.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way of the world. All right, guys, let us move on. Okay, time to talk about Kevin Spacey.
Did you forget that Kevin Spacey existed? Okay, so HBO Max is just like pumping out these docuseries right now.
They know their bread is buttered.
Yeah, they do. They really do. So they have acquired a docuseries about Kevin Spacey called Spacy Unmasked, featuring never-before-seen interviews, and they released a trailer for this. But it's interesting that they decide to do this after he has already been acquitted of criminal accusations. They're trying to get interviews from people who never accused him of anything, people who knew him, inside sources. They say this is a forensic look at a man who was once one of the most admired and respected actors in the world. Never before seen interviews and archive. The series examines his life from childhood to early success on Broadway and subsequent meteoric rise to stardom. Kevin Spacey's spectacular fall from grace came amid allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior. So he was acquitted of those accusations last year, but instead of talking about that trial, they're going to talk about his conduct in other situations and talk to multiple men unconnected to that case about their experiences with Kevin Spacey, almost all of whom have never spoken before. So this is going to be all new allegations against him, of which I'm sure there are many.
Yes. And the reason they're avoiding the trials is because it won't actually benefit the docuseries, because then they'll have to talk about how he wasn't found guilty.
And yeah, I'm not saying I think a verdict in a court of law is like the end all be all of truth, because people have been wrongly convicted, people have been wrongly exonerated of all sorts of crimes.
O.J. Simpson.
But yes, case in point, who is getting a movie made about himself being innocent as well.
Yep.
But Kevin Spacey, I feel, is just like, even though everyone's like, yes, Me Too went too far, Kevin Spacey is one of those people that we all kind of know is like a perv.
I mean,
right?
That's the thing. Like, you have as much evidence as you do anyone else, but your innate, sense of what you make of a person falls in here, and that's where it feels like it falls for most people.
Well, where that comes in for me is that he apologized for something that he now claims he didn't do.
I mean, back in 2017, I don't know if that's just something where he just didn't consult a PR person before and thought it was just going to go away by doing that.
I'm just saying, if I were accused of humping a 12-year-old in a bed while I was drunk, I wouldn't say sorry for it if I didn't do it. I wouldn't apologize for something I didn't do.
And then shortly after that, when he goes, it's because I'm gay.
Yeah. I'm gay and you're actually all homophobes. This is normal in our culture. Queer culture. Thank you. Did you have to set that one off?
No.
Oh, okay.
I had to fix the money.
I feel weird about dancing after that, but
Not
it is what it
exactly
is.
the best
The
stuff.
timing is what it is. We have a huge super chat, another from Just Cause I'm Free. He said, just a reminder that life is hard, giggity, but life is harder if you're an A-list pervert actor or director making millions of dollars. Hashtag no Diddy.
I did, however,
that.
see. I mean, this is
Oh, we got another 20 from Porco Rosso Forever. He said, it's a very sad time for America. Cringe is up, Riz is down. We should all do our part. We should all be willing to look ourselves in the mirror and ask, what would Turkish Quandale Dingle do? Nice hair, Brett.
Who?
Thank you.
You didn't hear about this. Oh,
The TikTok Riz
you
party.
left before we talked about this on Monday. The
Okay.
the TikTok Riz party. Did you hear about the lore?
I don't. I've heard the phrase TikTok Riz Party, but I'm not aware of what it is.
Yeah, so there was just footage from a random girl's Sweet 16 birthday party that was like in a nightclub. And all of these teenage boys recorded themselves singing along to Carnival, the new song on Vultures. And I guess that TikTok just kind of like ran with that and gave them all nicknames. So like they all have different places in the group and different like parts that they play in the social
if they were all
dynamic.
on Jersey
They put them up in
Shore.
like yes, exactly. I guessed that it was in New Jersey. So they were given like a social hierarchy. So like blue tie, he's the alpha male of group. And then Turkish Quandale Dingle, he's the one who's the outsider. He's like looking for validation.
Turkish
He's trying
Quandale
to
Dingle.
impress them. He's trying to break into the group.
I love this. I love the lore.
And then they got a Marc Jacobs ad. Yeah, they got an ad, the sponsorship for that.
Like
So
they did
good for them.
wear, they
Good
didn't
for
even wear
them.
mini Rode mics to film it. They just used the onboard iPhone audio for the Marc Jacobs ad, which is perfect.
They're getting
Perfect.
set up for college with that money.
And,
I
and to
hope
be
so.
fair, like he is right. Like Cringe is up, Riz is down. But what I did the other day is I saw somebody that I know say something annoying about the college kids, the frat kids who held the flag. So just out of spite, I donated $10 to their over $200,000
That's
rager that they're going to throw.
insane.
My hope is like, sadly, like what's going to probably happen is that they're going to divide that money up between the members, right? What I really
to pay
want,
like 10% of each of their student loan debt.
what I really want is a $200,000 rager thrown for them, and just have them all make sure they do everything, but perhaps don't die of alcohol poisoning.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be sad.
Good on you, bros.
Yes.
Good on you, bros.
Also, I just wanted to mention this because it's funny that soulless cretins can fall in love. Huma Abedin, if you didn't know, Anthony Weiner's ex-wife, and Alex Soros, George Soros' son, they're together now. And this is news to me. Like, I had no idea, but they're a couple.
You didn't
like,
know this?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, I did.
I wonder how they met. Like, I want to know the backstory, but anyway, they're going red carpet official at the Met Gala next month.
Over
so.
400,000 now for that GoFundMe, they're saying.
Wait, really? That's
For
crazy.
the for the guys.
It's going to be a hell of a party, guys.
Good for them.
Could they like give away half to a charity?
No.
Or something?
Pay off
I don't
their
know.
pay off their student
Well,
loans
that's
with
what
it.
they should do
Yeah.
with it. I mean, they shouldn't be at college in the first place, probably.
So,
but
like, where did they meet? do you
I just
think?
I don't know. Like, I want to know the backstory, but I'm sure they have a lot in common. They both love
Is
spirit
it like
cooking.
Illuminati match?
They love pizza.
Yeah.
And
Like BohemianGroveMatch.com, where you meet.
they love Eyes Wide Shut parties.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Eyes
they
Wide
both
Shut
love
parties.
CERN. I bet they met at CERN.
That could be. That
yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
CERN,
The CERN singles like speed dating
I
event.
keep seeing all the.
You
the
know,
Bohemian
they
Grove
went-
speed dating party.
if they didn't meet at like Bohemian Grove, it was like at the Bilderberg group or something
Yeah,
like that. You know,
it's like it's kind of like a speed dating event, or like you know how they do. What's the reality show where you don't get to see the person that you're.
Oh yeah, they could do Love Is
Love
Blind.
is Blind, but
in
it's because
CERN.
they're wearing cloaks.
Oh right.
Love
yeah.
is cloaked.
Well, no, they both took off their cloak hoods at the same time at CERN, and they were like they locked eyes.
I love that idea personally. I think they should. I think they should do it.
Thank you guys. Love conquers all.
It does. Okay, so given that they're talking about Soros, everybody keeps talking about I know this is a little bit off topic, like everybody keeps talking about all the protests and stuff that are going on. And like actor James Wood posted about how it's like, how did like 500 like equally perfectly made like protest signs just end up at an event?
Yeah.
And what I like the idea of is a movie or a television show where it's like, you're just the sign maker. Like that's what I want to be. I want to be the guy. That's who's really making the money here. It's the guy selling tents and signs. It's
just George Soros in a closet with craft supplies.
Just George himself,
it's
right?
Like
it's George.
He's an evil billionaire who's looking to destabilize America, but he also loves arts and crafts. And he takes great pleasure in making sure those signs are done perfectly every time. And he scrapbooks the photos from each event, like from each protest, in like a big book that will be on display.
He's a sentimental guy.
Yes, he is. I love that idea.
I kind of imagine like him like being in control of like pods of like half humans that were like printing out the signs. Like way more like the Matrix pods than him.
He
actually.
like whips them.
Yeah, you know.
There's a $20 one there from Lord Crimson TV.
Show title idea: Black Magic of Love.
There you go.
Okay, another questionable relationship: Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Alex Clark posted this video of the two of them, where Travis Kelce is just Joe Biden sniffing Taylor like hardcore.
Wait a minute, is it weird for a guy to sniff his girlfriend?
I mean, maybe like in public in front of a bunch of people who are like filming you and stuff.
That didn't look like sniffing to me, just like he kissed her on the arm.
I thought he was sniffing.
What did he do here?
Okay, let's watch again.
I thought he was sniffing.
We need like the feature so that I can zoom in and then slow down. Kiss on the shoulder, kiss on the shoulder, kiss on the arm.
It looks like he's like kissing her to me. Like it doesn't make me think of sniffing.
Triumphantly quote tweeted it and said, "I can't stop laughing thinking about the conservatives that were breaking a blood vessel trying to argue with me that they were a PR stunt a few months ago. You all look so dumb."
Oh, well.
Can I ask a question? Like, we covered all these topics, talked about it every day. Mm-hmm. I mean, is that really fair to say that people were breaking? I mean, I guess there's people who take it more seriously.
There were
Real
definitely
quick, we got a $20. Philip Allen McCracken said, "Phil, your vocals on the new song was moving and was just perfect. This song has motivated me to change. Mary, you should do a show with HCB and a few other Timcast ladies. Call the show The Basic View."
I've already pitched this show. It's
Brett has the better idea.
Broadcast,
obviously, but
that's the best.
Yeah.
Why on earth is this not happening?
There's a whole studio downstairs.
this is why we pay you the big bucks.
This is like, there's a whole studio downstairs that could be used for this.
Broadcast.
It's a great idea.
That is
I agree.
such a great. Yeah. Well, you know, you actually should turn the kitchen downstairs into the studio.
That
Would
was
it be the kitchen?
The original, I told him, it's like, have them do it in the kitchen.
I mean,
like,
you could just
without
like decorate
acknowledging
the IRL studio as if it's a kitchen anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
That is
random
broadcast from a set decorated.
well, we all
like
have to
a
wear
kitchen.
aprons.
Yeah.
On the
and the set should be as if like, instead of being like at the table, it should be like as if people are on the other side of the counter where you guys are like doing things like in the kitchen, not just hanging out talking.
No, absolutely.
You should have to be like making food or
stirring
something.
a pot of something.
Tim comes in and grabs
gruel.
Tim comes in, grabs his
Making
keys, and goes, "I'm
sandwiches.
going to work."
Making sandwiches.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's a great idea.
Broadcast. That is really good.
I guess there were conservatives that were like breaking blood vessels, but I can't get myself past like general interest in most of these things. Like if we found out tomorrow that the whole thing was a PR firm, his PR guy called her PR guy and said, "Let's set this up and we're gonna take the world by storm and make billions of dollars by the Super Bowl," I'd say, so?
I would be impressed.
So what? Like, we just talked about how like Glenn Powell lost his fiance because he leaned into rumors of a romance for a movie. That's not unprecedented. So it's not like the idea of something like this is completely far-fetched.
I think what's shocking to people about the idea of a PR relationship is that you're forfeiting the opportunity to have a real relationship in order to have fame, which is literally selling your soul.
Yeah.
So I think that's what people find shocking about it. But I think it's probably real.
Yes, I think it is. Let them have their fun. Maybe they'll get married. Who knows? All right, guys, let's move on then, shall we? It's very hard to do this with a straight face, I promise. But
thank you.
Hollywood's going to get everybody to care about climate change.
Yeah, right now, activists are pushing Hollywood studios to make more movies that are about climate change. They want Hollywood to produce more climate change propaganda. And they've even gone to the length of creating a new screen test for this, an algorithm, an algorithm, if you will, that will test movies for how well they propagandize audiences with climate change.
We have talked about the brand new climate Bechdel test here on the show before, but now what they're saying is they're running all of these movies through this new algorithm and saying that very, very few, only 9.5% of the last 250 big movies have passed the climate Bechdel test. I like the idea of calling it the Gore test. The Al Gore test. The algorithm. Yeah.
It's perfect.
The algorithm. It is.
So I saw here that he listed a bunch of films from the last decade that passed the climate Bechdel test, and some of them actually surprised me. So they have Pacific Rim, Kingsman, The Secret Service, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Maze Runner, Fantastic Four. 2016 had none. Then they say Justice League, Happy Death Day, which is so weird. Like, it's a comedy slasher film.
Can somebody remind me what it was in the Justice League movie that referenced climate change?
And they passed the climate Bechdel test only for a singular mention of climate change, right?
That looks like what they're talking about here.
So all of these movies mentioned it at the very least. So they also had Venom, Aquaman, Midsommar, Marriage Story, Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay, so that one really annoyed me. So the first time I saw the movie, I didn't remember it. I suppose that's the best thing you could say, right? Is I don't remember that line.
If it's a blink and you miss it.
So what it was is like Idris Elba makes this. He's the bad guy in that movie, and he's Idris Elba. He's cool. He talks cool. He sounds cool, and he has to deliver this line about the problems of the world being due to climate change and capitalism. And I literally go, please, somebody pick up something heavy now and throw it, because I need to get back to the action before I just jump out of.
I mean, you can still pass the climate Bechdel test if you write a character who is an idiot for being a climate activist. If you're making it seem like it's a stupid issue to care about.
You could also say that, I guess it is fair to point out that in that movie, it's the bad guy who's using it as an impetus to do evil things.
Honestly, like, I think the climate Bechdel test should just be like the parameters for it should be two plants talking to each other about something other than humans for at least 5 minutes. That's what would be a climate Bechdel test.
It would be.
They need to show plants having conversations. So also they listed Pokemon Detective Pikachu. I have no idea why the climate would be mentioned in that. But anyway, Tenet, The Hunt, Don't Look Up, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Eternals, Godzilla vs. Kong, The Tomorrow War, Wrath of Man, and 2022 is the last year recorded Glass Onion, Jurassic World Dominion, that's easy to predict, and Triangle of Sadness.
So there is actually something to be said about the idea that nothing is more popular in Hollywood than dystopian movies and television, right? They love dystopian stories. And what better way to introduce your dystopian show for them than to say, hey, the world was ravaged by climate change, hence the reason we live in the world we live in now. So it actually makes perfect sense that they can just shoehorn it right in there. I'm actually surprised the number isn't higher.
Wait, okay, so this says only 6 of the 32 movies had 3 or more scenes in which climate change was mentioned. If it's more than 1, I'm not watching the movie.
Yep.
Also, the winner with 6 scenes mentioning climate change was Happy Death Day. That's the one that comes out on top, is a comedy slasher film.
I'm happy that I didn't watch that movie.
That's just insane. And they said the founder of this NGO said, we turn to stories to find meaning, joy, beauty, and courage, and we desperately need to see our world reflected in the movies that we watch and love. For all of us, that world now includes the climate crisis.
No. Like
what a hall monitor.
I do not need to see my world reflected in a movie. If anything, I would like to see a completely different world, one that resembles very little of the world I live in, reflected in movies and television. I'm currently watching the Spawn animated series, and very little of that is indicative of the world that I live in on a daily basis, and I find it extremely enjoyable. Scary and enjoyable. Shocking.
There's no, especially in like the fantasy genre or action genre, there's almost nothing about that reflects the real world or the world that we live in, and nor should it.
Yeah.
Or else it wouldn't be entertaining.
Also, Hobbs and Shaw exists in a world where physics don't exist anyways.
Right.
It's a Fast and the Furious movie. So you want me to believe what you say about climate change, but a car can pull an airplane out of the sky.
They're normalizing reckless driving, and it's actually really problematic.
Yeah, it is. It's the height of narcissism to say that everything has to be reflected back at you, and I'm getting very, very annoyed because it seems to be the go-to excuse to make movies less fun. Like in comic books, it goes this way. So when somebody writes a comic, which could be written about anything, there's no budgetary issues about what you're going to draw, right? You can draw anything. You can draw space. You can draw monsters. Then why don't they do that? Because they pitch it wants to be pitched as a Netflix.
Oh, someone in the chat pointed out that because Happy Death Day is basically a ripoff of Groundhog Day, then maybe someone would say the same line about climate change over and over in the movie. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
we got another 20 from Shane H. Wilder. He said the Happy Death Day mention of climate change was a stupid climate activist that everyone hated. The only reason the character kept coming up was because every time the lead died, she started the day over and ran into the person. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
See, notice something here? All the people mentioning climate change are the bad guys.
Right, like they're the nerd that you don't want to be around.
Look, the reason why people are annoyed with this in comics is because they keep writing stories that take place firmly in the real world because it's not meant to actually entertain you. It's meant to be a pitch for Netflix because it's cheaper to adapt something that takes place in the real world rather than something that takes place in outer space and costs a fortune to animate or design. I don't need the real world constantly shown back to me. I want to see the fantastical. And even if it is the real world, like my life is not that of a superhero, nor should it seem like that. You want to do that to escape the world you're living in, even if there's something else. If I go watch a show about doctors, I'm not a doctor. I don't need to live in the world where doctors live to get enjoyment out of that.
Yeah, it's just funny. These are the same people that talk about self-care. But like, if someone's form of making sure they don't go insane thinking about all of the problems in the world is going to see a movie for a couple of hours, that's like morally wrong in their worldview. Like, you have to be thinking about catastrophic
when there's a genocide going on in Gaza.
Right. Yeah, there's gonna be a genocide in Gaza Bechdel test next.
Oh, I wouldn't be entirely surprised about that. I'm very, very tired of all this stuff, and most of the time, and here's the thing, most of the time these lines end up being throwaway lines that are just put in there. And these have existed for ages. Like most television shows will have paid homage to these types of causes in passing in their shows once or twice. That's fine. To me, and I know this is more of a personal thing, it's the buzzword nature of it more than anything that bothers me. Like, you can talk about problems with the environment. Remember when we watched Aquaman 2 and they mentioned greenhouse gases, and it's literally like at the bottom of the ocean and they're talking about greenhouse gases, and I almost got up and walked out. I'm like, can you imagine hiring Nicole Kidman, the great Nicole Kidman, to deliver that line? Mm-hmm. That's insane.
It was just so like dispassionately delivered as well.
Yeah, it's just this is all so boring.
It's
I think that activists just weren't bullied enough in school.
I think you're right. All right, let's go. Cringe or cute of the day?
We just did cringe of the day.
No, that wasn't
was
cringe
not
of the day.
cringe. Sorry.
Mary finds what we found cringe today cringe. I find it more just disturbing or slightly
cringe
hellish.
is disturbing.
Let's make it happen. Come on.
Let's look at cringe of the day today. This was like, I found this, but Mary goes, no, that is our cringe of the day. Here we go, guys.
I hate it.
Yep. Creepy Boston Dynamics robot dog dances in glittery blue costume. Here we go.
His name is Sparkles, by the way.
I don't know if we're gonna get.
No. Turn on the music. We need the music. It's royalty-free music.
No way.
It's just absolutely disgusting. kiss right now? Kill it with fire.
You know what's gonna happen, right? Shane H. Wilder's gonna animate that dog dancing over the crisis meter.
He's gonna dance. He's gonna do that. He's gonna have both of your heads on the
Annihilate it.
Yeah.
Kill it before
Shane.
it lays
Whatever you do,
robot
Shane
eggs.
H. Wilder.
Make sure that Mary's the blue one, and I'm not the
Both
blue
of
one. I
them.
don't want to be the blue one, please.
No.
They gotta.
All right.
Entice the
I said
heads.
call Christy Gnome. Like, we need to get Christy Gnome.
Yeah.
That was a good
On
tweet.
Sparkles.
That was a
Where
very
is
good
Christy
tweet.
Nolan when you need her?
Where is Christy Gnome when we need her? Seriously.
All right, we got some cue of the day. For these, we don't want Christy Gnome involved.
No.
Stay away.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is from Ten Zappa. Says Ludwig is a pup learning how to drank drunk at splash pad to cool down during a training on a warm day.
Cute. That's funny.
Cute.
Dogs are the best.
All right.
He's like eating the
He's
water.
living his best life. He's living his best life.
He is.
Let's do one more here. This one's from Ellen Thompson, socializing with the kittens.
Aww.
Look at that.
They're like literally the size of an egg.
Oh.
That's so cute.
All right. Very cute. They are very, very, very tiny. All right, Mary, time to talk about the disturbing Dan Schneider stuff.
Yeah, it's been about a month since the Quiet on Set docuseries came out. And if you didn't watch it, it was basically about Nickelodeon having a toxic workplace and, unfortunately, putting up with or being complicit in child predators at the company for an extended period of time.
I was gonna say toxic is an understatement, isn't it?
It unfortunately, like, they mixed together complaints from adult coworkers with complaints from child actors, and it didn't quite make sense, but you know, whatever sells your documentary. And after Quiet on Set came out, Dan Schneider did this really weird interview clearing up his side of the story. And it was totally scripted, at least that's the way it seemed to me. All of the questions had pre-scripted answers, and he was just trying to be like, good guy Dan Schneider, like, I never did anything wrong. I'm just, you know, learning and growing, and I realized that I used to be a jerk, and now I'm trying to be a nice guy. But there is, you know, kind of the elephant in the room of the Quiet on Set documentaries that Dan Schneider was never outright accused of any criminal behavior. Yep. He was literally just accused of being a jerk and quite obviously being porn addicted and an extremely mentally depraved sexual pervert. He did not victimize any of the child actors. He did not physically harm anyone. And at least not according to the documentary. And now he is suing the producers of Quiet on Set for defamation. And here is what his lawsuit states. Quiet on Set's portrayal of Dan Schneider is a hit job. While it's indisputable that two bona fide child sexual abusers worked on Nickelodeon shows, it is likewise indisputable that Dan Schneider had no knowledge of their abuse, was not complicit in the abuse, condemned the abuse once it was discovered, and critically was not a child sexual abuser himself. But for the sake of clickbait, ratings, and views, or put differently, money, defendants have destroyed Dan Schneider's reputation and legacy through the false statements and implications that Dan Schneider is exactly that. So they're calling it a hit job.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you know, if you actually watch through the documentary, there's no way you would walk away with the impression that he was an abuser or a predator, right?
Yeah.
Just with, you know, general suspicion of him. Because they show, like, photos and videos where, you know, he has this weirdly close physical relationship with Amanda Bynes when she was younger.
And that's what they did. They drew attention to
Yeah.
those things while hoping that you'll draw the implication there of what they're saying happened.
And can you be sued for defamation by implication?
I don't know. I mean, if anything, like what I thought was interesting is after doing that in the earlier episodes, then they do the Drake Bell episode where he says that he called Dan Schneider as soon as all this was done, and that was the person who helped him. He was the most supportive person. Yeah, Drake Bell had nothing negative to say about Dan Schneider in that context.
Right, but then there's like these videos of Dan Schneider having other employees and having Amanda Bynes give him like neck massages. Okay, 12-year-old Amanda Bynes, like, it's just not appropriate, obviously, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he is in the same league of evil as the convicted child predators that were shown in the documentary. And yeah, the rest of it was Dan Schneider is kind of a psycho jerk, which was true.
It's not about what we believe to be true. It's about what can be proven. And they can't prove it.
They showed a bunch of examples, like a non-exhaustive list of examples from his shows where kids were put into inappropriate sexual innuendo jokes. Yeah. Like, there was a scene of Miranda Cosgrove where she is like kneeling down on the ground and there is water shooting into her mouth.
Yeah.
From like disembodied off camera. And there are plenty of examples like that where, yeah, you're a pervert if you write jokes like this for children who don't even know the context of what the joke means.
Yeah.
But I guess at the time, no one thought that was a bad idea. No one told him that that wasn't a good idea to put through on a kid's show.
Yeah, like where were standards and practices to be like, no, Dan, you can't do that.
Like generally the sentiment was nobody felt that they could tell Dan Schneider no in any context.
The other thing that the documentary draws attention to is like him and Amanda Bynes would disappear behind closed doors for hours at a time. And then they would come back later. And that's designed as an implication that something happened behind those closed doors. But they never explicitly say that.
Right.
So we don't, like, I don't know if this falls under the title of defamation, but it definitely is the type of thing where we understand what their implication is there, even if they can't prove it.
Right, but it's like, regardless of whether anything happened behind those closed doors, you shouldn't have been hanging out alone with a child while their parents are supposed to be there to supervise, legally speaking.
And they talk about that a lot, and they talk about the circumventing of getting around the parents. Because my biggest takeaway through most of this was like, it wasn't about Dan Schneider, it was about the amount of people that failed Drake Bell. Like, everything that happened to Drake Bell after his dad worked so hard to prevent him from anything bad happening to him, he literally had to go out of his way to prevent him from being abused. And then when his mom gets involved and he's no longer under the care of his father, he's left to the wolves.
Dan Schneider gave a separate statement along with his lawsuit saying, Quiet on Set docuseries highlighted mistakes and poor judgment I exhibited during my time at Nickelodeon, most of which happened decades ago during my early career as a producer. There is no doubt that I was sometimes a bad leader. I'm sincerely apologetic and regretful for that behavior, and I'll continue to take accountability for it. However, after seeing Quiet on Set and its trailer and the reactions to them, I sadly have no choice but to take legal action against the people behind it. In their successful attempt to mislead viewers and increase ratings, they went beyond reporting the truth and falsely implied that I was involved in or facilitated horrific crimes for which actual child predators have been prosecuted and convicted. I have no objection to anyone highlighting my failures as a boss, but it's wrong to mislead millions of people to the false conclusion that I was in any way involved in heinous acts like those committed by child predators. I owe it to myself, my family, and many wonderful people involved in making these shows to set the record straight.
Yeah. And Amanda Bynes has made no allegations. In
she
fact,
declined to do an interview
or talk about this, and that's where the majority of the time when talking about Dan Schneider was talking about his relationship with Amanda Bynes.
And it's like, you don't really need to dramatize anything about what Dan Schneider did, because the rest of the real confirmed stories included in the documentary were enough to make it shocking and horrifying. Yeah. You didn't need to imply anything.
I remember the first time that it was Sarah who showed me this, like the Ariana Grande stuff. I was shocked.
Right, and that was like later into his tenure at Nickelodeon. That was in like the early 2010s, I think, is when that show ended.
Yeah. Did they ever? I didn't. There was like that added episode. I didn't watch the added episode that wasn't initially planned. Did they ever talk about like the Jamie Lynn Spears rumors?
Oh yeah, I saw like a post just today that was it was like Dan Schneider is suing the producers of Quiet on Set. There are currently resurfaced rumors about him impregnating Jamie Lynn Spears when she was 14 on the set of Zoe 101. And that's what everyone has been saying for years and years and years. But like there's no proof.
Yeah.
There's no proof, and they didn't even mention that in the documentary, and I didn't watch the bonus episode.
Yeah.
Because that must have been just about like reactions to the documentary instead of more stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people have come up with that conspiracy theory over the years.
And a lot of people drew attention to the fact that the first episode had nothing to do with Amanda Bynes. It was all about these writers that he mistreated, that he heavily mistreated and was sexist against, the two female writers.
Which, like, I respectfully, I don't care.
Yeah, like
we don't care.
Well, when we were talking about that, I'm like, so did they not have any of those sexist Like, were any of those gross jokes the product of those writers? If so, that's interesting. Like,
right? Yeah, like you were there in the writers' room.
Yeah.
When they were writing sexual jokes for children.
Yep.
So. Yeah, I really don't care about
but here's
any
the thing,
of their
like,
complaints.
If you feel like you can't speak up even though they're trying to like screw with your salary, you're not going to speak up because you morally take issue with some of the content. Mm-hmm. So
I just think it's interesting how Dan Schneider kind of did a complete 180, because after the documentary came out, he was acting like he was so apologetic and he like thinks it's so important that they made this and blah, blah, blah. And now that the lawsuit's here, he's like, actually, they defamed me. Like,
and he did the interview with like a guy with
one of the people he worked with, like, but it wasn't a child actor on one of his shows.
Adult.
It was an adult actor on one of his shows.
It was an adult.
And then, of course, the adult actor in that video goes, I always felt completely safe and confident and self-assured on all of your set. Yeah, because you were already an adult man working for Dan Schneider, so you were able to advocate for yourself.
I mean, these types of documentaries are designed to garner these types of headlines. And I imagine that for Discovery, they bake these types of lawsuits into their budget during the year, that they know that some of these are going to draw lawsuits, because to get salacious and to find the line of what you can talk about and where you can go without, defaming someone, it's their job to find that line for the sake of, I really do see this as like, it's the worst type of like activism for profit. Mm-hmm. Like it really is. It's designed as a social justice cause, but it's from a for-profit company that's doing so. It's entertainment. It's not actually supposed to reveal anything.
Victimtainment.
Yeah, it really is that, which is disturbing.
If the actual victims are complicit in it and like want to have a platform like that, even though it's a for-profit product.
Yeah.
I guess that's the way it's going to continue going.
In the chat, P-Tran says the tone of the show took a sharp downturn when Brett became brunette. Well, the subject matter did that, my friend, not my hair.
I feel like if you kept the costume on while we're talking about child predators, it might be a little bit disjointed.
Yeah, like
again, I say we have tonal issues here.
It's the type of thing where it's like, look, I don't ever look back at the footage, but I'll be like looking at like a segment years later and be like, why was I wearing that during that segment? That's disturbing.
Yeah.
And Nickelodeon's got they've got the Fairly Odd Parents reboot coming out now.
They race swapped and gender swapped Timmy Turner.
Yep.
It's absolutely abhorrent.
Do you think he wins this lawsuit, or do you think they settle out of court?
Oh, I don't think that it's actually like gonna work out for him.
Yeah.
They didn't actually accuse him of anything.
He's just doing it because it postures and
right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna be fine in that industry anyway.
Yeah.
If anything, the idea that you're a predator in that industry will help you.
Remember, one of them got fired, went to jail, and then went to work for Disney right after.
Exactly.
So
and it still happens.
They actually imagine some in Hollywood just put it on their resume.
Yeah, you might as well.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Andrew Jacobs said, "Mary, please consider booking Sherry Curry, Hi B and P." That's Brett and Phil. I don't know who Sherry Curry is.
From the Runaways band.
Never heard of it.
Sang the song Cherry Bomb.
Never heard of that either. Sorry. But I'll look into it. Shane H. Wilder said, happy Thursday, Brett, Bed Breaking Dasovic, Mary, Miraculous Metal Morgan, and Commander Phil. The Zin shortage is real. Stock up when you see them. Yeah, I looked into it. Like, one of their manufacturing facilities burnt down in a fire. Sounds like arson to me. But that smoke must have went crazy.
Thank you for calling me Bed Breaking Dasovic. I appreciate that one. Thank you.
Shane H. Wilder said, wow, Brett looks like Ted Kaczynski.
What, now? Me? Now? No,
With the
not
wig
me.
or
With
without
me.
it? Not that. John Stewart said, surfer Brett. Hi, Phil. Hi, Mary.
Wait, so am I Ted Kaczynski or am I a surfer? Or are those are mutually exclusive?
I feel like they
Both.
don't know what Ted Kaczynski looks like.
Yeah, I didn't see a resemblance at all. Sorenko Productions said, it looks good on Brett. A man of his word, too.
Went longer than one segment. It went several small segments, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Let's do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said, gigantic, hungry, hungry hippos is Lizzo and Gorlock.
There you go. That's perfect.
Oh, no, no, no.
All right. Let's move on, Mary. We
Okay.
got to talk about what it means to be culturally queer.
This actor from Glee played a gay character, but in real life, he is a straight dude. And recently, he was on a panel at one of these fan expos, and he told the audience that although he is heterosexual, he identifies as culturally queer. And I really hadn't heard that term before, but it's an umbrella movement, right? It's a big tent movement.
Well, that new flag has an umbrella.
There's a new
on it.
LGBT flag that has an umbrella on
I'm
it,
not
so
gonna
it's
lie,
perfect.
That flag goes kind of hard with the umbrella.
You loved it.
I like it.
Maybe you should join their club.
Maybe
you should be
Is that
culturally
real?
queer.
I have no idea if it's real, but like if you make it like if you change the colors and you make it just black and white and monochrome it, I'm kind of here for that flag. I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I just assume that the umbrella means that Umbrella Corp is represented in that now. So, all right, let's watch this video.
Yeah.
We're gonna allow these guys to talk about gay shit. I have been so culturally queer my whole life, and not because I'm trying. You know what? Actually, I was gonna say not because I'm trying to be cool, but I'm gonna erase that. It's because I am trying to be cool. 90% of the shit in my life that I have tried to emulate, learn from, and be inspired by is 100% queer as fuck. That's hundreds of years. It's been from the queer community. These are people that I idolize, that I want to learn something from. And obviously that's a gross generalization, you know, I'm not just, that's a lot of things, a lot of people. But I grew up in San Francisco in the 90s. I watched men die around us, uncles were dying. There was an awareness of the gay experience that like was not a foreign concept to me. So it was a narrative that I cared deeply about, not because I'm some fucking saint or I have some kind of like, I'm the man for the job. They hired me, and like I've said, I'm in the service industry. They said, you're the guy. And I said, okay, if I'm the guy, I will do my best. I'll do my best to talk about it in a way that I believe, in a way that I'm passionate about. So in many ways I go, I'm glad that it was me because it was a thing that I really liked showing up for. And it meant a great deal to me that it meant a deal to other people. Because when people say that they were affected by that show or that relationship, it's not because of me, man. It's because of that relationship on that TV and the risks that people took to put that on TV. And most importantly of all, it took people watching it to have the aptitude for seeing beyond what was, you know, maybe given to them in other.
What is he even
other avenues of
saying?
culture to go like, okay, you know what, I can relate to this, gay or straight. So I have a lot of people from all kinds of ages that were, you know, from all.
Oh, and he paints his
spectrum of
nails,
queerness,
too.
like, you know, that
That's how you
Very
know.
culturally
really grew up on
queer.
a show with like that, and it was a really meaningful thing for me to see. And I go, I didn't grow up with shit like that. That would have been very meaningful for me too. You know, regardless of the fact that I'm a straight kid, that has value. Representing any kind of underdog, as we all know, in any way, shape, or form, sexual, religious, theological, ethnic, whatever, it has value because there's going to be a lot of people that see that and go, okay, I can now understand this in a context that maybe I wasn't able to before.
What if a white actor played a black character in blackface and they were like, I grew up in Detroit in the 90s. I'm culturally black. One person in the chat said, just say you're not gay, but your boyfriend is. But yeah, he's one of these straight guys who paints his fingernails and wears little candy bracelets and t-shirts that are a little too tight, and Yeah, but he's straight and, you know, still identifies that way. It's interesting, though, because it's kind of problematic in current day Hollywood for a straight person to play a gay person or a quote unquote cis person, even though I don't believe in those categories, to play a trans character.
I feel like
he's trying to make it into a thing that's not problematic here, and like in this long-winded explanation, get people back on his side.
Well, then what he's challenging every actor now to, I first of all, when it comes to trans characters, that one I do believe is still firmly in place. But when it comes to playing gay or gay characters, I don't feel like that one is as rigidly enforced as it was like in 2017 or 2018, when that would have been a bigger talking point. Or even think about the discussion we had earlier this year about Bradley Cooper playing a Jewish character when he's not Jewish, right? So
it's selective outrage.
What he's doing is he's saying that, like, you can do this character. You can play this character, but you're going to have to prove at every meeting, at every Q&A, at every event that you're the man for the job by proving your fealty to the cause.
And who wants all of that trouble years after the show was canceled? Like, who wants to deal with that much baggage?
There are plenty of actors who are gay who come out and say that, like, these days, who are still saying, look, I wouldn't have had a career if I didn't get to play straight characters in my formative years. I have no problem with.
I mean, we are like the vast majority of the population.
I would have no problem with straight characters playing gay characters. I feel like now that's used as like a weird reverse virtue signal, even though it's not any type of bold statement to make. It was, who was it? The guy from Fast and the Furious 6 or 7, Luke. I forget his name. I forget the actor's name, but he played the bad guy in one of the Fast and Furious movies, and he talked about it. He said, look, I played straight characters most of my life. It's acting. And that's the truth of the matter. But there's always going to be a subset of the population on the internet that are going to have an issue with this. But we've had multiple actors. We had Billy D. Williams and the other one come out recently, and the other actor come out recently and say that, look, wear blackface. And everyone's like,
We got a $20 from Jared Price.
Luke Evans, thank you.
Culturally queer is just the new way to say they are, in their own words, culturally appropriating an aesthetic, but without using the phrase they overuse. Oh, look, hypocrites in Hollywood again.
Thank you, guys.
It's funny because,
Luke
like,
Evans.
This actor looked more masculine and heterosexual when he was on TV playing a gay guy than he does in real life as a straight man, where he's painting his nails and wearing frilly shirts and stuff.
And to an extent, he probably has to defend that choice now all the time against activists. His playing that character. He'll always get a little bit of pushback. Maybe not a lot, but he's going to.
A straight man doing gay stuff for money, regardless of the context, is always going to give me the ick. So I guess you could argue it's brave.
I mean, I guess. I just see it more as like proof that this is an ideology, and anybody that tells you it's not, look no further than to a discussion like this that turns it into so much more than just talking about who it is you prefer to sleep with.
Also, there's kind of the reason the trans thing is more set in stone as a no-no is because trans actors can't play cis people. And not that I even agree with the term cis, because it's just, we're normal.
Yep.
But trans actors can't play cis characters because they don't look normal. They look weird.
Meaning like Hunter Schafer.
Pretty much any of them that are clockable, yes. Like, which is all of them, basically, yes. In motion, video, not a photoshopped picture, they're all clockable. That's why they can't play normal cis characters. Like, it's a complete distraction, and it makes my brain uncomfy.
And another thing that's relevant in this discussion is there was a report here. GLAAD is very upset, guys.
They have a concerning report that there is a drop in LGBT characters on TV, and they have demanded more inclusive content from Hollywood.
I can't
Good
demand
grief.
anything. I'm not allowed to demand anything.
There's like 100 days of queer like throughout the year, like between a whole month and then like another.
And then there's the visibility days of all kinds.
70 days, like there's a whole month and then there's a whole other 70 days like that they make into some kind of thing. Like we don't need any more visibility for queers. We don't.
Who was it yesterday that was talking about not liking that art is being done through algorithms? It wasn't Rebecca Ferguson. It was
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt. Okay, so I thought this was interesting. It says for the 2023 to 2024 period, GLAAD counted 468 LGBTQ characters, a 21.4% drop from the previous season's total of 596. Of those counted, 36% of the 468 characters will not be returning the next season. When Emily Blunt said that she doesn't like the idea that art is put through algorithms, the converse to that is, how do you expect art to be done any other way when other people are literally counting characters, word amounts, and screen time down to percentage points to decide just how good you are or are not for their community's goals? Okay, that's not art, at least not in any real sense. That is just a bunch of activism by committee using art as a mouthpiece, which is why it ends up feeling empty to everyone.
They're nerds with clipboards.
Yes.
Can you believe that the activists who claim they're for sexual liberation are the pencil-pushing nerds walking around with clipboards clutched to their chest, and they're pushing their glasses up all the way to up the bridge of their nose?
Yes.
And they're looking around, sneering at everyone.
For the period, GLAAD counted 24 transgender characters, or 5% of the 468. The percentage held steady compared to the previous period. In reality, transgenders make up less than 1% of the adult population. Even I don't like these types of discussions where it's like they represent this amount of people to this amount of characters. Because one of the people would always point out to me was like, look, for instance, when they would talk about African-American representation in film in Hollywood, they'd be like, well, there'd always be like, if it's a ensemble show of 4 people, like one main character was always black, and nobody ever had a problem with it. In truth, that's an overrepresentation of the population, as we know, that would make up 13%, or given if it's a man or a woman, only 6% of the population. So in the show, they're overrepresented in the show, but you can't actually do a half of a person anyways. So when you start getting into the numbers, you just lose the magic of all of this stuff. There's no magic in this anymore. Maybe not the people of this show, but I think that the average person doesn't actually care as long as you put the character and the art first. But the problem is the character and the art is never put first anymore. No. So it feels empty. And it feels forced. Just
like you guys were saying, the fact that it's just a vehicle for a political narrative or to push an ideology is it's made it so that way people feel like these stories are hollow and empty.
Yeah.
I mean, we've disagreed about this on the show before, and the reason is that by their very existence, a person who identifies as trans is a walking narrative. They're trying to make you participate in their
fair
narrative.
Enough, yeah.
And, I just don't think that's fair, and I don't think you can include them in any story on TV or in a movie without it being that narrative driven. That is inescapable. It could be done in a way that, slaps you in the face a little less. I see this as an inevitable thing.
It's true. Anytime you bring up trans, because the point of trans is you're supposed to be able to, or they want to be able to pass. And so if you talk about trans, then they're not passing. Then you're making that a focus, and that there's validity to that argument, just having trans people, I get that,
So, an over 20% drop in LGBTQ characters in TV shows from 2023 to 2024. Mm-hmm. Does that mean Hollywood is learning something positive?
No.
Is this a positive sign, or is it just a total coincidence?
Coincidence.
Yeah.
I don't think Hollywood learns lessons.
Or is it the fact there are less TV shows in that season because of the strikes?
Yeah, I don't know if that's if it's like a bunch. The thing is, a lot of shows got canceled and nothing was re-upped, so they're running reruns. And there was only a very minuscule amount of new shows even ordered this year, for instance, on terrestrial television.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting discussion to have as well. But the problem is 30,000 foot view. It's just sad. Like, to look at like what was once a beautiful process of creating art, albeit with a lot of people involved, given that the process to actually bring something from concept to storyboard, script to production to screen is this massive undertaking that takes hundreds of thousands of people to do, was once something that people found beautiful, is now for the financial and social.
Thank you.
And that's just sad.
That's just sad. Let's dance about it.
Let's dance sadly.
Okay, we should move on.
That's just sad. Let's dance about it.
Corey Anderson said, Mary, when you see a super chat from me come through, do you say to yourself, shit, which way is this going? Brett, the blonde suits you.
I think she just stops with shit.
I don't even think about you.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, I know I do, Corey.
That was
Kyle
the meanest
Bowes
thing you've ever said on PCC.
He said, I link now, let them tremble as my alarm for my phone from Spotify.
Awesome.
That may count as a listen or whatnot. Because
it does.
when I
love
boot up Spotify, it's playing.
That rules.
Corey Anderson said, Phil, have you ever thought about putting a metal supergroup together as a side project? Who would you want in the band? What would you call the band? And would you add Ian?
Bro, our guitar player is Jason Richardson and our drummer is Anthony Barone. Like, I did that.
And yes, add Ian.
So you're kind of insulted that he even asked.
Well, I mean,
Are you going to add Ian to the band? Though?
No. I love Ian.
Not even like
Ian's not.
He can't like do tambourine.
No, Ian. I love Ian, but Ian.
The triangle.
He's down in Florida now, I think, or something like that.
One of my favorite early memories at this company was being out in like the skate park area. You know, like behind in the outdoor barn skate park. There's like that room behind there where there used to be like a little stage. It's just full of equipment now. But they were like,
Ian's out there singing.
Yeah, so they're out there singing one night, and I listened to Ian do Heart-Shaped Box by Nirvana, and I'm like me and Andy are both filming this, and I just couldn't get over how awesome it was.
Ian's got heart.
He does.
Ian's got heart.
Yeah. Mr. Anderson, serious question. Given ultra-processed foods light up the same pleasure centers in the brain, do you have to avoid Bugles, Oreos, and Slim Jims?
Are you talking about I think he's talking about for addiction.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Probably should, but I don't.
I mean, it does seem like a little inconsistent, but you have to pick a line. You have to draw a line somewhere, so.
Let's just say that I stop at the things that I know in the past have harmed me, and the ones that would cost me insane amounts of money that I wouldn't be able to say no to. First of all,
but Sheetz Tacos, they stay.
Even those I haven't. Well, no, I used to.
Tacos.
I used to make the joke. I said, "Look, I gave up the drugs. I gave up all the stuff. I'm not giving up soda.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that." But I did. I gave the soda up this year as well. I still drink the energy drinks at work, but in general, I don't.
Plenty of 5-hour energy.
I don't consume I don't just randomly consume soda now at any given hour of the day, but I do eat junk food. And I do like that you mentioned Bugles, though, because I've asked like several people out here if they eat Bugles, because they have these Cheeto, these new street taco Cheetos or street corn Cheetos that I thought tasted exactly like Bugles, to which several people go, what the hell are Bugles?
I have heard of them, but I've never had one.
Yeah.
Bugles?
Yeah.
Really?
Never.
I don't eat Oreos, though. I'm not a big cookie person.
I don't know what the hell is wrong with you.
I'm not a big
Something's
person.
deeply wrong with you. Drewish AF said, at work, blaring All That Remains and listening to PCC in my headphones. Phil, the new song rocks, and I can't wait for the rest. Love y'all. Cheersies.
Cheersies. Let's hold off on the rest. Let's come back after the fact. Time to talk about just how bad things are getting over there at Milf Manor.
It's been a while since we last talked about Milf Manor, but it just got so much worse, so much more degenerate in the meantime. So if you're unfamiliar, I should just explain the basic premise. They get a bunch of self-proclaimed MILFs, women who are single moms in their 40s to their 60s. They bring them to this private island or whatever, this mansion. And they also invite all of these women's adult sons who are in their 20s to early 30s. And the point of the show, ooh, shocker, they all find out the sons have to date the other moms. And it gets really weird and kind of borders on the incestuous. And that is entirely the point of the show, is just to be as degenerate and disturbing and uncomfortable as possible.
Let's be fair, reality TV has done this for as long as reality TV has existed, and I feel like for most people,
been degenerate?
Yes.
A lot of it is you watch this as a comfort, honestly, to think at least I'm not as bad as them.
Exactly. Even the most rigidly conservative person, because it's not presented to you in a way where it's
not an endorsement.
It does glorify it in a way, but it is designed to give you something to point and laugh at. It's the idea of a slow motion car crash. Like you never have people have these discussions about them as if they're good people. It's, oh my God, look at this train wreck that's happening in front of me.
Right.
Therefore, a lot of people who may be more judgmental or socially conservative will still be able to watch something like this and get something out of it because
and I love
like, wow.
cringe. I love cringe content. So I be watching Love is Blind. I watch Love on the Spectrum. I watch 90 Day Fiance.
Love on the Spectrum.
That's all my thing. So I get the appeal, but I have never watched a minute of Milf Manor, and I don't plan to. So in this new season of Milf Manor, they have updated the show concept to include DILFs in Milf Manor.
I'm going to just point out that this guy in this photo looks like his name is Joey the Nose, and he runs an import-export business out in New Jersey. He does.
Interesting profiling there.
Yes,
it's not hard to believe, actually. So this says, local father and son date the same women in wild TLC show Milf Manor. Uncomfortable. So they get the dads to join the show and compete for the same women that their sons are trying to date. They just thought, how can we... They sat around in a circle. They thought, how can we make this more effed up?
I don't know if I'm going to do how long I'm going to do this show, but the best transition for me to my next job would be like idea guy for reality TV. I would love that.
Me too. I'm not gonna be like high and mighty. I would totally love to be a drama stirrer for a living. Like that sounds like heaven for me.
How can you? Who comes up with the idea, and then who approves it, and then who says yes, I want to be on that show?
People who are hungry for fame.
Genuinely, yeah. Like, and then young guys who like want to get laid, I guess. But it just sounds like a cesspool of STDs, doesn't it?
I mean, it just sounds like a cesspool of. It sounds like a cesspool.
In general, yeah. And these stills are even more disturbing. I mean, there was a scene that got reposted from the first season where they had the moms blindfolded and they had to identify which guy was their son by touching their shirtless bodies while blindfolded. It was disgusting, okay? We have a $20 from Darth Doza. Mary, when you say no, no, no in that certain way, like no, 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 where is that from? It's from that meme.
Yes. Look, I always thought
it's from a meme.
Az from Heel vs. Babyface said that way.
What?
Az, his name is Az.
Okay.
From Heel
Might
vs.
be.
Babyface says that way, but I don't know where the clip that's famous for it is from. It's obviously been dropped into millions of pieces of audio on TikTok and on social media.
Right. So I think they tried to bill this as like, oh, no one knew we were going to do this. It was all a big surprise once they got here. But how I can't believe that because you signed on a contract. You had to have known, right? But they said Anthony, 54, one of the DILFs, he has been divorced for 7 years. And oh my goodness, it's so close to the profile that you came up with. He owns Nino's Coal Fire Pizza in Brick, New Jersey.
I was going to say, if he doesn't own an import-export business, he owns a freaking pizza shop. Look at this. Tell me I'm wrong.
He said he didn't expect to see his son there. It really took me by surprise because we were thinking we were going on 2 separate dating shows. When I walked in, I saw Joey and I was like, oh my.
This guy owns stock in an Atlantic City casino for sure.
His son, Joey, is 21, a college student and, quote, entrepreneur, whatever that means. He's in Hustlers University. He said, it was a lot of emotions at once. Everyone was obviously shocked, but I was also kind of excited. Like, me and my dad, we hang out. Honestly, it gave me something to look forward to.
Like, they just...
How wholesome is that?
It's like they each come from the, like, so dad and son come from opposite bedrooms and just nuck on the way.
I can't.
There's a big super
another
chat there from...
100 from Just Cause I'm Free. Thank you so much. He said, those women had so much work done, Barbie would be jealous. Also, Dan Schneider looks like Herbert the pervert in a greasy fat suit.
He looked like he was trying to slim down in his interview.
Was he?
Yeah.
He was wearing some flattering clothes.
He had the facial hair, trying to make himself look different.
Strategic beard.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of shocked about that show.
Yep.
That's something else.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of the point, is to shock you.
And here's the thing, I'm not gonna lie. I
succeeded.
I use HBO Max on a regular basis, and I believe it's HBO Max. And I see Milf Manor, and I almost click on it just cause every time I pass by. I don't.
But you're like, no, I'm better than that.
Reality TV isn't really my thing. I would love the idea of being able to come up with degenerate ideas for reality TV, but watching it, not so much. Right? Mm-hmm. But, you know, there's no way that you're going to ever run out of this type of stuff, because there's always going to be a subset of humanity that's going to be willing to do just about anything for a little bit of fame.
This dad said, I'm not going to talk bad about last season at all, but I think that this was a little classier. Even though it was still a crazy twist, it was more acceptable because it's a father and son. Oh, well, that changes everything. Both father and son said once they got over their shock, they didn't think it was weird at all to be pursuing the same pool of women who were closer to Anthony's age, the dad.
Yes.
Even older. They're 46, 48,
Look,
51,
but these
50.
women have had...
One of them is 60 years old.
A lot of these women have had a lot of work done, so they're not going to entirely resemble their age. And they don't look like the type of guys who would have a huge issue with extensive plastic surgery.
What do you think it would be weird for a father and son to go on double dates outside the context of a reality show?
The whole
Sounds
thing
horrible.
is weird.
Sounds really just not right.
The whole thing is weird. The whole thing is bad.
The dad said, you know,
gross.
Joey dates older women. We go out together. He's like my brother almost. We'll go out on double dates.
So this is the worst. This is the worst toxicity of like young single mom syndrome.
But in a dad.
But in
a single
guys.
dad.
I have a problem with people that think their children are their friend.
Yes.
Your kid can be your friend once your kid is 30.
Yeah.
Once your kid is like, you know, over
That frontal
25.
lobe is finishing
Exactly.
developing.
Like once your kid is an actual adult, then you can be friends. Even like your 23, 24, 25-year-old kid, that's still your kid, and you're still their parent, and you're still supposed to help them kind of like figure out parts of life. Like just because they're old enough to go out into the world doesn't mean, oh God, hi. Doesn't mean that like you shouldn't be trying to help and influence and make their lives better and help them, you know, go through struggles that you've gone through and advise them and stuff. You shouldn't be trying to be like, oh, we're homies. You should be like, yo, I'm your dad and I'm your father and this is the stuff you should do. Like this is bad. They're not your friends. They're your kids.
Yeah, agree.
But there's actually worse.
In other degenerate
Of course
reality
there's
TV,
worse.
Dom Luca recently posted this. For context, this is a reality show from back in 2004, and I was really surprised this would air back then, actually. But it's a show called There's Something About Miriam, and it shows contestants trying to date a transgender woman they believe is a naturally born woman. Miriam Rivera told contestants in this moment that she was transgender on a cruel reality show. The whole thing was a prank.
This is literally, it's just a prank, bro.
And it's actually from 2004, which is crazy.
Somebody in the chat says the show never aired.
Well, I looked at the Wikipedia page for it. It says There's Something About Miriam is a British reality television series broadcast by Sky One. The 6-episode series premiered in February 2004. concluded the next month. Set in Spain, the series depicted 6 men in competition for a $10,000 reward over who could make the best impression on 21-year-old Mexican model Miriam Rivera. The men were required to compete in various physical challenges. Thank you. In addition to going on individual and group dates with Miriam Rivera, in the final episode, Miriam Rivera selected the one contestant who left the best impression on her. Upon selection, Rivera revealed to contestants that she was a transgender woman who had not yet undergone, quote, gender-affirming surgery. The series was hosted by television presenter Tim Vincent and aired on Fox Reality Channel in 2007. So it aired in the US in like a few years after it was originally filmed.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a real thing. It actually went on TV. And that was only shocking to me because, like, I don't know, it really wasn't a mainstream issue to talk about in that time.
Not that time.
But they're kind of capitalizing off of what is now called trans panic or gay panic, I guess.
Well, those were like in comedy back in that time period and a little bit before that. Gay panic was a huge punchline in television shows.
Well, all the guys in the background on that clip were laughing, so clearly it worked. But honestly, it just seems kind of sociopathic.
Yeah. It says there was litigation prior to its release. Following the completion of the show, it was scheduled to air in November 2003, but a lawsuit by the contestants delayed the airing. They alleged conspiracy to commit sexual assault, defamation, breach of contract, and personal injury in the form of psychological and emotional damage.
I mean, that's all true.
All the men settled for undisclosed amount, and the show premiered on February 22nd.
That's crazy.
Like, so they had to make do the math and say, is it worth paying out these lawsuits to make this show a reality? And they decided it was.
Yeah, I had never heard of it before, though. Francisco Sanchez Jr. sent a 20, ice cream so good. No, no, no.
Oh, God.
Not yes, yes, yes. We're not yes, yes, yesing to that.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is seriously like psycho, but unfortunately this happens off of television screens as well.
So Miriam committed suicide.
Seriously?
Yes.
When?
So I was pulling this. I saw people in the chat mention this is from a day ago. Miriam
Wait, what?
Yes, Miriam Rivera's family described the harrowing moment they found her body after the suicide, after her brother reveals his doubts that the world's first transgender reality star took her own life. The family of a tragic TV star has described the harrowing moment they found the body after her alleged suicide. Miriam Rivera, the world's first transgender reality star, but her death aged 38 in 2019 remains shrouded in mystery.
Okay, so that wasn't recent. I thought maybe people were talking about it more recently because
of the
suicide, but actually it was a few years back.
But this is because this article was written the other day because they're talking about it again.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Wow, that's shocking.
That is unbelievably shocking, and I can't believe it. I can, but I can't.
Well, yes, obviously, like statistically, it's not shocking, but still, yeah, I had no idea.
So is this the line for Hollywood? I don't think that they would do something like this now. Maybe
no, because it would be actually. Now that I think about it, I feel like maybe I have seen a reality show contestant who's trans who doesn't want to tell someone they're dating they're trans, but I can't like come up with an example off the top of my head.
That is like if I were a show producer, the last thing that I would want is that on my show.
Yeah, it says the documentary, they're calling it a documentary, not a reality show. It doesn't set out to villainize the men. The two contestants who take part are clearly victims too, but the production executive comes across as unrepentant, saying, "Do I think it went beyond any moral code of conduct? No." And displays so little empathy that airing her thoughts felt irresponsible. Yeah. Wow.
So there's a documentary about this now.
About the show? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So that's why people were talking about it.
Yeah, people were talking about it, yes.
That is crazy. I can't believe that. But I don't think this show would be breached. I don't think this topic would be broached now.
Well, no, but I think that if the men reacted with any sign of shock or disgust, they would be canceled 100%, because you don't toe the line that this is a real woman, and you cannot question that, and you cannot even show with the most minuscule facial expression that you question that that narrative.
All right.
But wow. All right.
Let's
So,
do super chats.
We gotta catch up here. Corey Anderson said, Phil, do you know if the tour is going to be general admission? Last concert I went had seats or chairs on the floor. It was lame.
There will be general admission seats. Most of the venues are what they call sheds or amphitheaters, so there will be seats inside. A lot of times they have like a pit area down front that'll be general. That'll be like expensive tickets. Then they'll have seats, and then they'll have like the lawn out back, which you can have, everyone goes and moshes up there anyways. So it depends on where you want to be, but there will be general admission seats, yes.
Charlene Ferguson said, is Brett channeling Johnny Bravo today?
Kind of was.
I love that.
In a way. My shirt wasn't tight enough to be Johnny Bravo.
It was not.
Yeah.
Pat the Plumber said, blonde Brett is best Brett. True.
People might
Fact
agree.
check? True. Corey Anderson said, if you're seeing Lord of the Rings in theater, get a catheter or pull a Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and don't forget your trusty water bottle.
Got it. Well, it's got to be a Voss water bottle. Any other water bottle is
Unacceptable.
You know what? I might have to miss 5 minutes, actually. Kilo Bravo said, Bruh Dasovic, Hail Mary, and Fearless Phil, our favorite afternoon trio. Semper Fi. Let's go. Okay, Gross
Wait, why
John.
did you spell it like that? Or was that just a...
He said fee.
I know, he spelled it F-E-E.
Yeah, I don't know. Gross John said, nice hair, Brett. Thank you for your service.
Always happy to do so. It's funny. So I was like kind of putting it off. I was like, I'll find a wig eventually. But, usually when you're like around here, like there's a lot of chaos because they moved over to the new location. So there's stuff kind of scattered around. But I was looking for a microphone today and found that in like a bag, and I'm like, this will work.
Corey Anderson said, if you have seen Wolf of Wall Street, you know that Margot Robbie is not mid. If she had a downside, she is too tall at 5'6". 5'2" to 5'4" is ideal. I'm kind of surprised they could get her to play Barbie at only 5'6", though.
The heels.
She seems she seemed taller.
She's on her. They even address it by putting her in the heels right away.
But yeah, we all know she's not mid. Bender the Offender said, working 3 double shifts next week. Looks like I'm going to be watching a lot of PCC.
Let's go.
Well, hope you get through it okay.
Yep.
Glad we can help. Brewmaster Monk said, it sounds like we need a woman with real balls to make a Red Sonja movie.
There you go. There you go.
Great. Lord Crimson TV said, hey Phil, doesn't Mary kind of look like the lead singer of In This Moment? Or if not, she could cosplay her almost perfectly?
Yeah, I mean, she's pale and blonde.
Pretty much hear that about any pale blonde person.
No,
Corey Anderson.
I mean, you do resemble Maria a little bit more than just pale and blonde, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Corey Anderson said, never let us forget about Turkish Quandale Dingle.
I love the name.
We'll never
Turkish
forget.
Quandale Dingle.
We'll never forget you. The Last of My Kind said, proof blonde Brett has more fun. It's true.
It was all the crisis parties, guys. When you get to dance, you have more fun. I could do that with dark hair.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said Soros and Anadin.
They're talking about from the earlier.
Oh, Abaddon or whatever.
Huma Abedin
Abaddon
is her name.
Locked eyes through their animal skull masks during the Bohemian Grove sacrifice. In that moment, they knew it was love. Yes, it was love at first sacrifice ritual.
Yes.
Pat the Plumber said blonde Brett gets more super chats.
Maybe
Unfortunately true.
Maybe I will test that theory out again one day.
Just take the plunge. Just bleach your hair. It's fine. Corey Anderson said, Mary, is it difficult to wait to have sex until marriage when the demons have put it in every aspect of society? I'm proud of you for being a principled young lady and setting a great example for girls. It's not difficult, and we're moving on from this question.
I was just going to say, this is not a question that you need to really discuss, Mary.
No. Mark said $1.99 without a message. Thank you.
Thank you.
Corey Anderson said climate change is real. It's called seasons.
The seasons do change.
The climate do be changing.
Sometimes It do be like that.
It'd be like that sometimes. Pat the plumber said, I think the Happy Death Day one is just because she keeps reliving the same day and there's some douche in the quad handing out flyers about climate change.
I am going to say now, if there's one trope in movies and television I really skip, it's any type of Groundhog Day story.
The original?
I cannot. It's fine, but I would never go out of my way to watch it again. Yeah. And I saw it a long, long time ago. But in general, stories, and there's a lot of good sci-fi TV shows that run at least one episode that does that type of episode, and I'm not a huge fan of that. One I did like, that's a bit similar in nature, was the show The Librarians with Rebecca Romaine and Christian Kane. Did an episode where you play where they're like she's a character or he's a character in a video game, and it's one where every time like he has to get to certain points in the video game to make it to a save location so he can save his game, otherwise he has to start everything over from scratch. That I kind of like, which is a bit of an offshoot of that. But other than that, like just having to watch the same story over and over again, it's tedious.
Pat the plumber said Shane outtypes me. Yeah, he beat you to the punch. Shane H. Wilder, dude, I'm not even that effed up to use that cringe.
As in the blue dog.
Sparkles.
Like I'm gonna tell my kids.
What are Sparkles' pronouns?
Like when I like somebody should make the meme, however, when they see this that says I'm gonna tell my kids this was Bluey.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell Christy Gnome this was Bluey. DCNC
right there. It's perfect.
Said special guest Johnny Bravo.
Again, shirt wasn't tight enough.
R. Fontanez said, Phil, see you in Phoenix with Megadeth. Let's go.
Sick, let's go.
Tarzan Jungle Kung Fu said, on the Robo-Dog, Evan and Caitlin made a Furby version for their Robo-Dog a few weeks ago. Much creepier, in my opinion. Does it even blink like a Furby? But kill it with fire. Shane H. Wilder said, Ted from the drawing with the sunglasses?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I suppose that famous, what is that? The picture of him.
Yeah, someone sent that. I think Shane sent that in the on Twitter or something like that. And I mean, I get it, but it's only the drawing, not actually the picture of Ted Kaczynski. So correct. Fair enough. Your point is well taken, but I would say that it's a specific picture that he was referring to, not actually the Unabomber himself.
Mr. Anderson said, fealty, nice word, Brett. That word a day toilet paper is reaping dividends. I'm just teasing.
Thank you.
It's not even that interesting of a word. Just Because I'm Free said, queer culture should be like women, seen but not heard. LOL. Low-key agree. Pat the Plumber said, has anyone seen Banshee? There's a feminine/drag/gay character in that show, and he's awesome. Show rules.
He is actually. It's the one that Hoon Lee plays. It's one of the best characters in the show, and he's awesome. And right from the very beginning, when you see him blow up his own shop as this like techno pop song plays, you know you're in for a good ride. Really, really good show. Anthony Starr's best role still, in my opinion. I don't care what anyone says. Better than The Boys.
Corey Anderson said, Olivia Claire, tell Brett he looks handsome as a blonde. # justice for Mocha.
Look, I see Mocha and I just turn into Christy Gnome. What can I say?
Understandable. Jared Price said, hey, Phil, I'm a solo musician from Massachusetts. Think 90s Bon Jovi with a splash of Creed and Mighty Mighty Boss Stones. Any pointers other than leave MA?
If your splash of Mighty Mighty Boss Stones is the trumpet, leave that too.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, so how heavy is the trumpet going?
Yeah, like sax is kind of back in style now. You can do some tasty sax stuff, but I would leave the trumpets at home.
Great advice. Corey Anderson said, is being Eskimo bros with your dad an ick?
Yeah.
It's worse than an ick. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's worse.
Ask the women like Tish Cyrus and their mom.
Ew. Urashima Otaru said, wait for Milf, Dilf, Gmilf, Gadilf Manor?
Yeah.
Gadilf?
Granddad, I'd like to.
I hate it all.
Gilfin,
all right.
Yeah.
Great. Shane H. Wilder said, me, this reality show can't get any worse. Also me. I stand corrected.
Never underestimate their ability to drag themselves to lower.
I love how they were like coping about it too. They were like, this is actually an improvement. Like, this is classy. Like, no, it's not.
The guy's like, I own a pizza shop. Are you kidding me? I class up the joint.
I love how you knew that he was from Jersey. Like,
look, I
immediately.
Yeah, like.
You've been around the block a few times. Corey Anderson said, you guys should review The Crying Game.
No.
What is that?
No.
What is that?
The Crying Game. No.
What is it?
It's a terrible movie. Just Google it and look it up later.
All right. I'll take your word for it. Corey Anderson said, Phil, sorry for insulting your bandmates. Is he forgiven?
It's okay, yes.
Woodhull Tribe said, Phil, can't wait to see you guys in Reading, PA in September. Safe travels.
Cheers. Thank you very much. I can't wait to.
Pat the Plumber said 5 crisis parties with the wig, 3 without. Just saying.
Look, how about this? Maybe one day I'll do it again for the intro segment, and if you keep that same energy, we'll talk.
Okay. Corey Anderson said, Mary, sorry if that question was intrusive. I love PCC and just want to know you guys. I look forward to 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
I mean, I wouldn't even ask that question. I'm super like that's just not a question.
We know each other, and Brett wouldn't ask me something like that.
Question.
But you know,
I gained a lot in life.
I just assume that you drink while watching the show because that's how you act. But if I'm wrong, then please do correct the record.
Also, I can't wear the wig tomorrow. Look, Zuby's gonna be here.
We have to be professional around the guest.
We gotta do our best.
Not around Phil though.
We don't need to be professional around Phil, but everybody else, we're like, we don't want to look like a clown show.
We want to be taken seriously as podcasters.
Phil already knows we're a clown show.
That's right.
The secret is out, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? I want to give a bit of a notice before we sign off that me and Mary will be gone Monday through Wednesday next week. We're going to be out filming content. We've got something going on for the show that's...
You're going to love it.
You're going to love it.
Doesn't matter what it is and don't ask.
Exactly. But the point is we will be gone. Kellen will be filling in with a plethora of different guests over those 3 days.
A plethora.
Yes. So we will be looking forward to him holding down the fort here and putting on great shows while we're gone. So you should please show up to those episodes and support him and everybody else here at the castle that comes to hang. They're not here at the castle really anymore, but they're going to come to the castle to help us.
Can you not give them more money than you would if we were here so that we don't get replaced by Kellen?
There you go.
Please.
There you go.
Please.
So just a heads up on that, guys. We will be gone Monday through Wednesday, but the show will go on. So yeah, Phil, my friend, thank you.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. I'm Phil That Remains official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. You can go to my Twix page and click the link that is in my bio, and that will take you to a pre-save for our new single that is available tomorrow. The song is called Divine. The video will be up on YouTube and stuff tomorrow. We are going to be All That Remains is going to be going on tour with Megadeth this summer in August, September. 2 months. It is the Destroy All Enemies. It's Megadeth, Mudvayne, and All That Remains. Come check us out. You can follow the band on Instagram at All That Remains. You can follow the band on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Deezer, Amazon Music, the internet. And don't forget, the left lane is for crime.
Awesome. Deezer always sounds like you had a dude in high school you were friends with whose name was Deezer. That was his nickname.
I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Is it Deezer or Doozer or whatever? I don't know.
Everybody had a friend who probably did hallucinogens named Deezer that showed up at all the parties, and he never made it home, but he did.
Definitely did.
Yes. Just a heads up again, guys. We will have Zuby in studio with us tomorrow. We're looking forward to that. So please come and check out the show, watch it with us. Mary, where can they find you?
Well, on Super Chat, he said, Brian, it was from Brian Tesh, did my previous Super Chat not show up? Yes, because I didn't see it here, at least, on the spreadsheet. If you want to look for it, Brett, I don't know. Shane H. Wilder said, Mary, Brett, you've been around the block a few times. You heard it here first, folks. Mary thinks Brett is for the streets.
Well, What can I say?
I'm not gonna say he's not. For the
Here's the
streets.
thing, guys. It's way more of an accomplishment for a dude to be for the streets. So even though it's not true, and I am not. Thank you for the compliment. And I did find that super chat here from Brian Tesh. I'm sorry, this was a $20 one and we missed it. It says, I love watching PCC while working. Mary and Brett, you guys do an amazing job. I can't wait to meet you in Charlotte, Phil. I bought Pit VIP meet and greet tickets. I'm excited. Thanks for making my days better. You three.
Sick. Show's gonna rule.
Perfect. All right, and my friend, thank you so much for that super chat. I'm really sorry that we missed that.
I'm sorry. It did. I swear, I just looked again. It didn't show up on the spreadsheet, so that was not intentional at all. Anyway, you guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, you want to follow me Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify, not Deezer, if you want to listen rather than watch. And if you want to follow the show on social media, Twix at popculture_show, Facebook, and not TikTok because we were banned, at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.